Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach Playbook with Paul LaPolice, your home for elite CFL breakdown analysis. Today, this is a fun one. We're going to break down what I call Sally Rand routes or Sally routes and go through that. This concept has been in my repertoire since I came into the league. I learned it up here in 2000 and have run it ever since. Most teams in the Canadian Football League run this concept, and I really think it was originated here. I spoke at a clinic in the year 2000 down in the United States about this concept and about reading the defensive end. So this is RPO, but a special type of RPO where you read the defensive end, and then if the defensive end doesn't play contain, you pull it and you have a naked bootleg and you throws downfield. Now, different than the United States, especially early in my career, the CFL didn't really care if linemen were downfield. Technically, a lineman shouldn't be blocking 5 yards downfield, and then you have a pass play that goes 20 yards downfield. But I think our league has always kind of let that go a little bit and allowed you to do that, where in the United States, I think they build their stuff where they're going to throw things behind the line of scrimmage or run it with a quarterback. So we can throw a corner route and have an offensive lineman blocking downfield. So the line can just block the run, and then the quarterback can read the decision by the defensive end. So that's reading the defensive end, and you have a naked bootleg off of that. So why is it called Sally? Why is it called Sally in the Canadian Football League? Some teams still call it that, some don't. So it's because there is a burlesque dancer named Sally Rand. And I believe this comes from Adam Rita. I'm going to give him the credit for this. I actually looked up Sally Rand in Wikipedia, and the University of Delaware was said to have a football play named after her, and also the BC Lions employed Sally Rands a lot in their offense. And I truly think Adam Rita, when he came up, he's the one who educated me why it was called Sally. And Sally, yes, was a burlesque dancer in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Very famous burlesque dancer. So why would you, naked bootleg, you're pulling, that means you don't have any protection. So you're pulling the ball to the wide side of the field and you're running. So no different. What do burlesque dancers do? They get naked. So that's kind of where the name came from, Sally Rand. It's stuck. You've got good opportunities for the quarterback to either run, hand the ball off, or throw the ball downfield. And that's what makes it so difficult for defenses. And that's why defense have kind of said, hey, listen, you can't let the lineman block that far downfield. You gotta start calling this when we're throwing it 40 yards downfield and there's a guy 5 yards downfield. It's very difficult for the defense. But every team in the league runs it. I got about 15 of these Sally Rands, all different ways. Let's break them down and take a look at the Sally Rand play. Let's look at why the Sally game is so important in the Canadian Football League, because it's going to separate a defense. You see Calgary here with Dedrick Mills getting a big run for yardage. Well, why does this happen? And I'll show you the pattern concept, because you're going to see this throughout. Before the ball snap, they're going to send a receiver here behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to come up, and he's going to actually pick if somebody's chasing across the field. He's going to run a corner route, and he's going to run a hitch. So you kind of have a man answer, and this is kind of your zone answer. But the beauty of RPOs that read the end, and I call these Sallies, and as we talked about why it's called Sally in the introduction, okay, because they're nakeds. Guys are breaking free and reading the edge and making a naked pull to throw the football. Well, watch. Kyrie Wilson here, watch what he does right here. He plays upfield. He's playing wide. And I don't want to get into too much of the O-line blocking, but these two block these two. He's singled, and there goes the ball. They handle everything up inside, and the width is created by the quarterback reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. So that's why these plays are so dangerous. Ottawa here with a big gain on one of their Sally plays. I like how they designed it and developed it. Jalen Acklin gets the ball out on the perimeter. Let's go through and explain what's happening here. There's a little bit of motion here. The receiver starts this way and comes to this spot. There's a tight end right here. So there's 2 players on this side of the field. And there's 2 DBs on this side of the field. But watch what happens when Jalen Acklin goes back. 1 DB, 2 DBs. They still have 2 people over on this side. It's zone coverage. So that means they're probably going to be short on the other side of the field. And that's the pattern concept is a guy in the flat. The guy breaks out. He's a pick player in man and zone. He finds space, a corner route, and a hitch. And as you look, everybody lifted with these 2 routes, and this defender's inside. There's nobody on the perimeter. So that's what you call outflanking the defense. Quarterback recognizes it, gets the ball quickly in the hands. Let's look at the Sally read by the quarterback. What's this end do? Watch his shoulder. His inside shoulder goes in fast. Anytime that, I call that a fast squeeze. Quarterback pull the ball on fast squeeze. Read what happens on the perimeter. Nice easy completion on the outside. Saskatchewan Roughriders get a completion on their Sally game. This is something I call secret. Once again, you're trying to get the quarterback a little bit more time to read what's happening. They've got a tight end attached, and he goes out to the flat. You have a curl, and you have a go route. So this concept is a concept a lot of teams run as a Sally, something I run, I would call secret. And you'll see Patterson just sees that there's tons of space. He expanded with him. These 2 players are high, gets an easy completion. Now, I don't know if it's a great read on the end, but he's pulling. I sometimes call this a contour read. He just pulls it and he knows he's got the throw. Because if you look at this from a blocking wise, he can go here, he can go here. These 2 block that one. He pins him. If this end works for width, the ball could hit there, right there. So what's the end do? He worked for width. Should have been a handoff. But he recognized he's got this throw, so I'm not sure if they're allowed to kind of just pull off a coverage. Some teams allow him to do that. So as long as you got a quick throw, you're going to be okay. Back to Ottawa. Very similar concept. Same thing. They changed it on the perimeter a little bit and get the deep shot downfield. Whether that's the same concept or they're telling them, all right, this one, you've got the ability to bench it. He's setting up. And again, they're bringing somebody in the flat. Quarterback reads the end, then throws the ball on the perimeter. What's happening here? What's the end do? He crashes and gets down fast. Once that shoulder disappears, quarterback now in pistol is recognizing that. He's going to pull with depth. He's going to expect somebody's going to do what's called gap exchange, which Rose is trying to do here. He's just not going to get there in time, and he gets the throw on the perimeter. A little bit worried about calling this at the 7-yard line. You can't call it farther back because the quarterback may boot right into that guy, but he's got enough room right there. Edmonton Elks in a 4x1 get a nice throw on the outside, make somebody miss in space, turns into a 20-yard play. How does this happen? Same Sally game. Watch the routes. He's in the flat. He's on a curl. He's on a curl. Looks like he's running an out. So he's got a bunch of underneath options for him. And these 2 people are in man coverage, and they don't switch correctly. So as he went in, he took that one. The 4th receiver was covered by him. So they switched it. One switched and took the inside one. That guy stayed on that one. He was late to switch. Gives him the throw on the outside. See that? They're both in man coverage. When he went in, he said, you take that one, I'll take this one. But it's such a short route. He's so high, it's going to take a while to get there. Beauty of our league, get the ball in space. The width of the field, let people make people miss. Let's go to the backside. Good read by the quarterback. This is what I call I would either call this gap exchange or I'd call this a fast squeeze, because he's trying to recover by the end, but just you can't do both. So good throw by McLeod, good recognition. Here's the Elks running the same Sally versus a zone team, versus the Riders this time, versus zone. What happens? He's going to work into this space. He's going to work in the flat. He's going to run up and run a curl. He's going to run either a go or an out. But watch. He's high and inside. He's high and inside. He's getting depth. If that guy stays in the curl, throw the ball out here. It should be a 5-yard gain. And again, the quarterback's got more time to read this when nobody plays contain. So good location, 5-yard gain, 1st and 10. Okay, you can see right here, fast squeeze, comes down, pull, quick throw. Another one by the Ottawa Redblacks. They do a lot in their Sally game, trying to set a pick versus man coverage. I thought the Stampeders did a good job breaking through it. That's a corner route. That's a hitch. That's kind of like a pick play with an out, and you're going to bring somebody back across the field. So this is the man area. This is the zone area. So if they played cover 3, okay, if it was 3 deep and that guy was in the deep third and that guy was here, you'd throw the hitch out here. If it's man and that guy gets picked, you throw the out flank, and that's what happens here. You see Ackland setting up, forcing him to go over the top. Quarterback pulls it, and he's outflanked the defender. Defender does a good job getting through there, but still completion. I really like what the Z's doing. Z has a good understanding. I think that's Mardner. He's watching, and he sees him throw this. So what you coach this player is as soon as you see his hands go to throw this versus man, flip your hips and take your man defender and start blocking, which he does. Nice job. Go to the end zone. What's happening at the back side of the zone play on the Sally game? You know, I might have handed this ball off, but again, he's probably pulling because he knows it's man coverage and he can get a pick. So they'll give him the green light. He just cannot. He's got to get the ball out of his hand before that player shows up. And he does. It's good. Montreal. They like to do this a lot. Watch what happens. Big outflank, throw on the perimeter. What's different this time? Tight end set. Here's a tight end. He's going to go on a corner route. He's going to go in the flat. This is what I call fullback razor. This is an outflank. This is a man zone option. And you're just reading the end. So the Sally part of this is this concept. And watch what happens. There's a guy deep for the corner route. He's sinking for the corner route. He's sinking for the corner route. The quarterback understands that we have outflanked the defense. If he's in, he's up. There's nobody here. Throw the ball on the perimeter. Get the ball outside. Big gain. If it was man coverage, well, maybe you're throwing this route. But it's not. It's zone coverage with people over there. Let's go back to the end. See what the end's doing here. There's a fast squeeze. Watch that. He comes down quickly. Pull it. Get on the perimeter. Get a nice, easy throw. One of Winnipeg's favorite plays in the Sally game. They like to do a 3-man concept. This is great recognition and what Zach's so good at. Watch this touchdown by Zach here to Kenny Lawler. Let's break down what's happening. So they go to a bunch condensed set. This play's usually run from a condensed set. He's going to run and sit down. He's going to run a corner route, and he's going to outflank the defense. So this is what people call the spot route in the United States. Different way of running it, but this is basically what it is. You can outflank people in man. You can have a corner route in man, and you have some zone options. So what happens? Zach gets a pull read immediately, but he also understands their gap exchanging, and he knows there's nobody in the middle of the field. So what I mean by that is watch this defensive end. He is going to sprint down the line of scrimmage. So he's forcing that ball to be pulled. They also told the linebacker, you better recover, and the linebacker's trying to make the play. So what happens here is Zach has to know, well, there's nobody there on Kenny Lawler. Bang, gets the ball outside quickly. Because there's 3 receivers now, and everybody expanded, nobody's played inside. So great recognition by Zach, good throw on the touchdown. Same play, Edmonton Elks, take a look. It's a little different formation. He's going to condense and come in here to 6. He's going to run a corner route. They're going to send somebody in the flat. And they just read what this player does. If he comes inside, you throw outside. And that's what happens. All right. Once the defense falls inside, turns into a big gain. So the best thing about the Sally game is McLeod Bethel Thompson, once he sees this end, see the end? he knows he has time because this linebacker's trying to do what's called gap exchange. He takes the B gap, and this guy plays contain on the quarterback. It's just so hard from where he's at. Gives McLeod enough time to throw the ball. Montreal running very similar concept. You'll see it again. This time, everybody expanded with the outside route. So there's the guy sitting down. There's the corner route. Here's the guy in the flat. This is a lot of teams call spot concept. Well, Cody recognizes once he pulled it, he's got a little bit of time to read what's happening. Watch, everybody runs with the underneath route, the expanding route. See, he says, I'm going to take that. He stayed covering him. He was covering him man-to-man from here, and he stayed all the way across the field. Nobody switched. So Cody sees it. All right, they made a mistake. That's the beauty of all this stuff. You get a little bit of motion, get this guy coming across. Did this guy communicate with whoever's over here? Mistake here, right? I don't think they want their will linebacker anyways in switching with the slots, but easy read. Quarterback pulls it, has a little bit of time to read. 92. This is, you could have handed this off, but kind of knew based on coverage. Nice big play. All right, here's Winnipeg running another one. All right, 3 receivers in a bunch. Same thing. He's going to come up and be sit down. He's going to run a corner route. He's going to go on the flat. Because it's man coverage, he switched to be on better leverage here. He switched to take that one. He switched to take that one. What do I mean by that? Is he left that one to him. He switched his man to take this man, and he ended up taking this one. But when you switch all these, look, everybody's got a man-to-man, but nobody's got the quarterback. So Dressler just sees it and he goes, all right, I'll just go get 25 yards. It's like 30-yard gain right here. So they covered it this time, but that's the best part of this RPO Sally game is when nobody plays contain and it's man coverage and the quarterback pulls it, there's nobody else left. So big gain here by Dressler on the pull. We'll end it with this one. The Saskatchewan Roughriders get a touchdown. But the key is a lot of motion. And that's the hard part for all these DBs to figure out, like in the Sally game and all this stuff, guys going this direction, this direction. So we're going to start with this. There's a fullback here. So he's got him. He's got the fullback. Now, wait a minute. They move this guy all the way over here. So now he's got the fullback and he's got him. All right, and he's got this guy. Well, what do? When the ball's snapped, they send this guy over here. And they release him. So they get confused, and watch what happens. Quarterback pulls it. Easy touchdown to the fullback. Because of all the motion, all the movement going on here, right? He's coming over. Okay, the guy who goes back is not the same guy who went over. And when I show it to you from the end zone, you can watch. Basically, 2 players right there. Nichols, 24 and Nichols both take that one. Cramdy fills for the run, but nobody took the fullback because both guys went outside. Quarterback pulled it with depth. Okay, this is a good read by the quarterback. Watch the end. Now he's got time. Again, gap exchange where Cramdy's trying to play the quarterback. It just takes too much time, especially when you also don't cover people. So the Sally game is really hard for defenses. It's a staple of the Canadian Football League. One of the best things about it is they really allow the linemen to get downfield, I think, with downfield throws more so in the United States. But some of the best part of our game is the Sally Rand game.